Hey everyone! In today's video, we're going to be making some silicone molds out of real succulents. I tried this a couple of days ago and it worked out a lot better than I thought it would. So yeah, we're going to make some of those today. These are the succulents that we're going to be working with today. I got them at Home Depot and Lowe's, and they ranged from about $4 to about $7. The biggest one being $7, and this one was like $4, and I think this one was like $5 or something like that. So one thing that I noticed when I worked with them last time is that it's better to have ones that are very compact, where the leaves are very close together and close to the stem. They're not super splayed out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Hold on. This is a succulent I own that I have had forever that I would say has that splayed out thing I'm talking about going on. Like you see, just the leaves are very long, they're very separated from one another. It's just, I tried making a mold with something kind of similar, much smaller but similar, and it just didn't go well. So just wanted to give you a heads up. If you want to try it, cool, but it did not work for me. This is a piece of soap that I made with a silicone mold that I bought online. And one of the reasons that I tried making my own is because a lot of the times the molds that I get online, they always kind of have an air of artificiality about them. I mean, this one, it looks good, but I wouldn't really say it looks particularly real. You know what I mean? Here's a bar of soap that I make that has a succulent in bed, and this is one of the better molds that I've come across, but even with that, there's really an air of artificiality about it. You see how there's like that kind of seam along the edge? Here are some of the molds that I had already worked on. I made one with Mold Star 15, and we're going to be working with that in the video. And then I made this with a clear platinum silicone by Tap Plastics that we're going to be working with as well. And these are soap. And this is the succulent that I used for these particular pieces. I'm sure you can really look and see a resemblance. I have not tried with the other succulent styles yet, so we'll see how that goes. But they look good. These are the materials that we're going to be working with today. I'm not going to get super in-depth about any of them because I have demos and reviews for all of them that are like 20 minutes plus. So if you're curious about any of these products, I'll leave the links for the demo and review videos in the description area below, and it will get you up to speed. And if you have questions in general about silicone mold making, I have another video called How I Make My Clear Silicone Molds. And yeah, it will help you understand what's going on if you're brand new to all of this. So this is Amazing Remelt. This is a one-part silicone, or it's not silicone, it's like gelatin and glycerin. It's a one-part meltable, reusable mold making material. So we're going to be using this. It's hard to explain how. I'm just going to have to show you when we get there. So that's what's going on there. All right. This is my favorite clear silicone of all time. This is Tap Plastics Platinum Silicone. It is also the most expensive silicone I have come across so far. So yeah, we're going to be working with this. It's just my favorite all around. The molds I get from it, I'm always very happy with. That's this clear one right now. The clarity is excellent. It's nice and soft. It's nice and flexible. So yeah, we're going to be working with that. And then we're going to be working with Mold Star 15. I love this stuff. A lot of crafters love and use this stuff. It's much more cost effective. It's this sea green color kind of mold material. So we're going to go ahead and get our mold situation set up, and I will see you in a little bit. Alright, so I have my stuff that I would use for my usual mold setup. I have some kind of tray or plate, I have sulfur-free clay, and I have my cutters. And like I said, if you don't really understand what's going on here, I'll leave the link to a more detailed mold making video in the description area below. But what I'm going to do now, I have my succulents, I have everything going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to squeeze them into the clay, and that's just going to hold the mold material and the succulents and everything we need to be in place. Alright, so now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take some of my Amazing Remelt, that one part mold making material, and I'm going to go and melt it down. I have some in a cup right here. And like I said, I have a tutorial for this, but I'm gonna go and melt it down and then pour it into here, and then we're gonna cut some succulent clippings and we're going to set them into the remelt. The remelt is gonna set up really quick and it's just gonna help hold the succulents in place. And one thing I also realized is I think it's actually absorbing the moisture that the succulents are giving off and keeping it away from the mold material. Because when I pull this up out of the mold, it's like squishy, it's ruined essentially, but it does the trick. Like, it's been working out really well. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna melt my remelt and I will be back. All right, so my remelt is now totally melted. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pour a thin layer into each of these cutters. And this stuff won't take very long to get as thick as I would like it to be for what we're doing. So once we get it poured, we'll move pretty quick and cut our succulent cuttings and put them in here. Now I'm going to take my succulents and I'm going to cut the pieces that I want to use. That looks good. So I'm just going to set that in here. And it's just going to hold it upright. And also give you somewhat of like a clean line on the back of the mold when you pull it out. It's not perfect, but it's not bad either. So this is what it looks like inside of these cutters. And you see that the remelt is just, they're holding it upright. That I saw that I did not put enough in that one right there, but I think it should be okay. This stuff doesn't take long to set up. It's probably already tacky enough to the touch. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my mold material mixed up off camera, and then I'll be back when it's time to pour it in. And we're going to start with the Tap Plastics Platinum Silicone, and then we're going to do the Mold Star. All right, I have some of the Tap Plastics Silicone mixed up. So now I'm going to go ahead and pour it into some of my cutters. All right, so now I am going to mix up some Mold Star and I will be back and then we'll pour that into these cutters right here. I added a few more off camera because some of them got really close to the cutter, a little too close for my liking. So yeah, there's a couple more cutters now. I have my Mold Star all mixed up, so I'm gonna get ready to start to pour it into my molds. I haven't tried it with these ones. That one should go okay. I don't know how this is gonna go, but we're gonna find out, huh? All right, so I totally did not mix up enough mold materials, so I am going to finish these other ones off camera. You have the idea, like the basic idea of what I'm going to do. So I will see you when it's time to pop all of the molds out and the succulents out, and they're all just gonna fall apart, so there's no salvaging them, but they took one for the team and it's in the name of art and it's gonna be great. So I will see you when it's time to pop them out. It's been about an hour at this point and the Mold Star is still setting up, but these ones are ready to be popped out, so we're gonna go ahead and take these ones out and see what we got. And this feels sticky. Like I said before, I think it really absorbed the moisture that this was giving off, so I'm just gonna throw that away. All right, so this is what our first mold looks like. looks pretty good. All right, that one did okay. I think I'm gonna clean it up a little bit though and just kind of cut off some of this excess material. All right, so this is what our clear molds look like. I think while the other molds set up, I'm going to use these and put some soap in them and see what that looks like. So I will see you in a little bit. The silicone is fully cured for these now, so I'm just gonna do what I did before with these clear ones that I have since poured some soap into. I'm gonna do this one on camera and then I'm just gonna do the rest off camera, and then we're gonna pop the soap out of the other molds and see what that looks like. All right, so let's go ahead and pop these out. That's what that looks like. And then I'm just going to come in with an X-Acto knife and do just a little bit of cleanup. What I do like about the clear silicone is that you can see that it got into all the little spots and you can really work it in the places you need it to be. With the soap, it's pretty easy. Rubbing alcohol helps the liquid soap get to where it needs to be. With resin, you're gonna have to work at it a little bit, but it's totally doable, I'm sure. All right, so that is what those look like. And then off camera, I'm going to take the other succulents out of those other molds, and then I'm gonna pour some soap in them. And I think I'm gonna make a bar of soap, and I'm gonna do all of that off camera. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, and then we'll conclude our video. So I will see you in a little bit. All right, so the bar of soap is done. This is what it looks like. I took all the soap embeds that I made and I put it into more soap. I'm super happy with the results. Yeah, I love it. All right, so I guess that really covers everything. I do want to say that I had one of the molds was a fail. The rest came out completely fine. But yeah, this one that was made from this succulent, it was a disaster. I would probably only use, well, I would only use the tapped plastic stuff. I honestly prefer the tapped plastics silicone completely. I think in the future I will only use this stuff. Like this, it's a good cheaper option, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with this. So yeah, that covers everything. I hope you learned a lot. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.